Jessica is the head of Social Enterprise Business Center of the Hong Kong Council of Social Services.
Hi.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Nice.
Yeah, I hope a lot of the audience will understand what are you do, what are you doing. In fact, the Hong Kong Council of Social Services is the first platform in Hong Kong that promote the social entrepreneurship and the innovation.
Yes.
Over the past 12 years, Jessica has been focusing in a wide range of innovative initiatives in collaboration with government, business, and NGO partner. Maybe I pass the time to Jessica to have some other word to say.
Yes, I think this is a difficult time to of us, and this is a very special arrangement to have this kind of Zoom sharing. But I think I just listened to Grace, the last speaker, about it is time for us to think about the way of living, and also of not just doing the business, but also how do we have our daily life. And today I was focused more on the social entrepreneurship. People often think that social impact and business operation is not compatible. But today I want to share more how we can integrate the business operation with the social objective. So we have been doing this for more than 12 years already, and we are the first organization doing this. So today I want to share some cases and hope it will be useful to our audience.
Your show time, yeah, please.
Everyone, I'm very happy to share our experience with all of you, and also thanks for the invitation from the Green Council. I'm honored to be the speaker from the social welfare sector, because I know most of the speakers today come from the business sector. So I am happy to share the views from NGO perspective. So today I will focus on two topics. The first mainly on the social entrepreneurship, and the second how can corporations collaborate with the social enterprises and our other partners. So this is a brief introduction about my organization. I come from the Hong Kong Council of Social Service, the HKCSS. We are a federation of social enterprise, not the social welfare organizations in Hong Kong, with over 95% of social welfare organizations in Hong Kong. They are our members. We have more than 460 agency members. So some names such as the YMCA, YWCA, Salvation Armies, they are all of our members of our organizations. So we have quite a long history with over 70 years. So, but we are as a platform and umbrella organizations. So mainly we work with the government, the business sector, and the professional sector to drive the social development of Hong Kong through different kind of partnership programs. So I think maybe the Caring Company scheme is more familiar to all of you, which we launched it 15 years ago. So for myself, I have been working in the council for more than 15 years already, and I'm in charge of Social Enterprise Business Center, SEBC. So we set this center in 2008. At that time, social enterprise was still a very, very new concept in Hong Kong. At that time, because the poverty rate was very, very high after the SARS and economic downturn in early 2000. So we found that perhaps social enterprise is a way for us to alleviate the poverty problem and the unemployment problem. So that's why we set up the SEBC at that time. So over past 12 years, we have been engaging in different kinds of cross-sectoral partnership programs. So I'm in charge of different programs such as the grant management. We are appointed by the government to manage the social innovation and entrepreneurship fund. We are working on and will be soon launch a new project on social investment, social impact bond or pay for success project. And we do a lot of incubations and capacity building for social enterprises project in Hong Kong. And today I will focus more on responsible procurement, because we have been working on this for about 10 years already. So this is a very interesting. You see that why I have a picture with Audrey. Audrey Tan, the digital minister in Taiwan, because last year our SEBC has received Asian Pacific Partnership Award on social innovation. And Audrey, actually, he is a strong advocate on social innovations, and I'm very happy to receive the prize from him last year. Sorry. Okay, so this is today's agenda. I've just mentioned, mainly focused on social entrepreneurship, creating shared values, CSV, from the angle of NGO. Okay. So this is a big background why we engage in the social entrepreneurship. So actually, over a long period of time, Hong Kong, we have a lot of social problems, and it was the job for the government and the NGO sectors to handle those problems. But in recent 20 years, we gradually find that the social problems in Hong Kong become more and more complicated. We see the number of aged population is on the rise. We see the widening income gap between the rich and the poor, environmental problem, and a lot of problem. So it become not impossible. It become gradually impossible for just the government and the NGO sector to solve this problem. We need the engagement from the business sector as well. So this is the reason the emergence of social entrepreneurship in Hong Kong. In fact, we have the first social enterprise in Hong Kong starting from 1980s, but this concept has become more and more popular since early 2000. I'm not going to explain very in detail about what is social entrepreneurship, but I want to share with you this continuum of social entrepreneurship, because in Hong Kong, many people will regard social sector and commercial sector as a dichotomy. Usually people use quite divided or dichotomous approach to perceive social organizations and commercial organization. People often think that for the social and for the NGO, for the charitable organization, you are subsidized by the government subsidies and individual donations, and you are non-profit making and non-profit driven. At the same time, on the other hand, people think that for commercial sectors, you are driven by the commercial activities and profit driven. But I think about in the past 15 years, around 15 years, we gradually use another approach to perceive this kind of the division. We try to perceive it as a continuum, just like this. And you can see that social enterprise is situated at the middle, because for social enterprises, both of the social mission and the commercial activities are important to us. We call it the double bottom line. And so you can see social enterprises, but at the middle. For most corporations in Hong Kong, a lot of corporations in Hong Kong are engaging in different kinds of CSR activities. But right now, we see that there's a gradual shift from CSR to CSV, to creating shared value. And CSV, it is different from the CSR because it focuses more on the integration of the social mission together with the business operations. It is much more oriented towards the social side. And I will share more here in my presentation. So I think social enterprise, this concept is not a new concept, as I said. It's already have, I think, about 15 to 20 years of history. But I talked to some friends from the business sector, and I found that a lot of corporations and friends from corporations have a misunderstanding about what is social enterprises. First, they think that social enterprise is not profit making, not profit sharing, and not profit distributing, and it must be operated by non-profit organizations like the Tung Hua Group of Hospitals. But this is not true. Of course, as shown in this picture, the iBakery, I think a lot of you heard of it. It is a very famous social enterprises operated by the Tung Hua Group of Hospitals in Hong Kong. They recruit and employ the people with disabilities and train them up at their bakery shops and their restaurant. They create the jobs. They, of course, generate profit. but they don't distribute profit. This is because this is a charitable organizations. Yes, we have quite a lot of this kind. We call it WISE, W-I-S-E, World Integration Social Enterprise in Hong Kong. But in past, I think past 8 to 10 years, we see the increase of the number of those privately run profit-making social enterprises. Those social enterprises, they are not operated by the charitable organizations. Actually, they initiated by the business sector as a spin-off, or the business sector as the investor, and they have a very clear social objective, just like our charity organization, but they are also profit-making. Even though, and also if they can earn any profit, they would distribute the profit to their shareholders. It seems that it is quite interesting because people often think that profit making and doing good for the society is different things, but we see that gradually quite a lot of number of corporations, they are engaging in this sector. So this is some background information for you to take a look. You see that 10 years ago, when first we have this social enterprise concept, it was about less than 300 social enterprises in Hong Kong, and less than just 16% of them, they were operated by the private companies. But right now you see that we have over 650 social enterprises in Hong Kong, and over 50%, they are actually run by non-charity. They are run by private companies and professionals. So we know many people from the corporations, from the professional sectors. Sometimes they quit their job and open their social enterprises. Even now, I know that some large corporations, they are considering to have some spin-off which operate as a social enterprises. So we see this trend, and we see the numbers of social enterprises, this kind of privately owned social enterprises, they are coming up. So I've just very briefly introduced the social enterprise landscape in Hong Kong. You see the trend in Hong Kong. And right now I want to move on and another concept, the CSV, which is related to social entrepreneurship. So CSV, I mentioned the full name is creating shared value, which has become more and more popular. But before we talk about that concept, let's move on we have a review of our development of CSR over the past decades. You see that starting from 1960 to 1970s, we began to have the corporations higher awareness about to care their employees, to help care about the work condition of their staff. In 1960 and 1970, actually, the Hong Kong government, they have launched some labor audience, which is related to work condition at that time. But CSR was still a lot of concept at that time. And then at about 1980 to 1990s, so we see the rising number of local foundations in Hong Kong, and people become more and more active in volunteer work and also individual giving. Some popular events at that time, they become quite famous. For example, the chess million of walks, 公益金百萬行. So people become more and more actively engaged in this kind of social related activities, including the corporations. In early 2000, people, the CSR, this concept was in early 2000 in Hong Kong. Actually, this concept was first, the ESG, this term was first mentioned in a report issued by United Nations in 2004. At that time, our organization, we launched our caring company scheme also during that time. So it becomes suddenly quite a popular terms, and people started to talk about CSR, sustainability, and ESG. But right now, I tell you this because starting from 2000, we see the emergence of the social entrepreneurship, not only in Hong Kong, but also all over the world. People often start to think that whether CSR is enough or not. So in 2011, Professor Michael Porter of the Harvard Business School, he has first mentioned the term CSV, creating shared value, in an article published in the Harvard Business Review. And then it has become more and more popular among the business world, not only in business world, but also in our social sector. So I mentioned this because the CSR and CSV is two completely different concepts. For CSR, it is still mainly driven by business goal, and corporations, after they earned profit, and they use the profit to contribute to the society, either by donation, volunteering, or other services. So the approach is more reactive. And it is mainly driven by the reputation, to build up the reputation of the corporations. It is still doing good for the society, but if you compare the social goal and the economic goal, I can say that for CSR mainly, the economic goal, that the social goal is subordinated under the economic goal. But for CSV, it is totally different, because CSV, we put the equal importance to social goal and also to economic goal. The social, perhaps at some time when we spend it on social, something on the for the society, with social impact, from the traditional view from the corporation, it is just kind of expenses maybe. But for CSV, it is a kind of investment, not only to the society, but to the company itself. It will be perceived as a competitive advantage of the strategy of the corporations. And we see a lot of social issues happening in the society, but we don't see it as a social problem, because some corporations, they see it rather as a business opportunities. So for CSV, this is combination of the social goal with economic goal, which is completely different from the CSR. So there's mainly three components in the CSV concept. The first, we conceiving products and markets, we defining productivity in the value chain, enabling local cluster development. I will mainly focus on responsible consumption and procurement in this presentation, and this is also the goal 12 of the ESG goal. There's a three component ESG, but I know that quite a lot of speakers today mainly focus on environmental protection and also the governance. So I mainly focus on social side. For social, something that corporation can do, including to buy local products to support social economy and to ensure human labor and community rights of the suppliers. So I'm going to share some cases that my center worked with different kind of corporations. So actually, there are quite a lot of things that corporations can do to fulfill this bi-social concept, or this kind of responsible procurement concept. So first thing, I find that quite a lot of corporations in Hong Kong, when you consider to buy a product or service, usually we just use two criteria to consider a potential vendor. First, price. The second, track record. But to social enterprises, to fair trade companies, and to a local small enterprise, actually it is very, very difficult for them to fulfill your requirement. So what you can do is first, apart from this kind, apart from the criteria of price and track record, it is possible for our corporations to incorporate social criteria in their vetting process. For example, can they consider whether the potential vendors, they are equally friendly, have an equally friendly operation, where they have employed any staff members who are at disadvantaged groups, such as the mentally ill people, and maybe other social criteria. Not just about the budget, not just about the price, because I find that quite a lot of corporations in Hong Kong mainly just concerned about the money side, not the social side, even during their vetting process and evaluation process of the procurement. The second thing is very, very easy for you to do is to expand your vendor list. Especially for the large corporations in Hong Kong, we know that corporations, you have a vendor list, that if you have something that want to procure, you will send invitation to those suppliers in this vendor list. But I talked to some social enterprises and local business. I found that it is extremely difficult for them to get into the vendor list. Perhaps there is some administrative problem. I've talked to some administrators of the corporations. They say, oh, I don't know where can I find a social enterprise list. I can give you the full list right now, so you can see iPhone here, the picture is the social enterprise directory. I will show you the website later on after this presentation. This includes the full list. I have mentioned we have over 650 social enterprises. They are offering different kinds of products and services in Hong Kong. When you download the apps and go to our website, you can get every contact information that you want. So you see that there's some pictures of the fair trade products, some slides, and there's a very nice cookies. Actually, this is a collaboration project that we worked with Peninsula Hotel about 4 years ago, and also two social enterprises, which they employed people with disabilities. They decide this kind of cookies and then to sell to the tourists at that time. So this is quite a popular product at that time. So lastly, I want to mention, because many people told me that the prices of social enterprises products are so high and so expensive. So it's impossible for our company to buy these products from the fair trade. It's 20% higher than our normal products, so it's impossible. So I think that it is not necessary and not realistic for you to change totally your procurement policy. But how about just turn 5% of your daily consumption to procure products with social value? Maybe it's not just social enterprise, but maybe from the local communities, from the fair trade products, from the organic products. That will be good enough, because actually you see the numbers of social enterprises and the fair trade companies is not very high. We have a small market, but so just a few percent of increase of the consumption will be supportive to them and also to the society. So this is another case I want to share. It's a very interesting case because our center have been involving in this kind of responsible procurement for I think 10 years already. Not 10 years, 8 years already. We set up a social enterprise trading platform called the Good Goose, and in 2012. And we have a very interesting project called the Social Enterprise Coupon. You see the coupon here. And then we have about over 200 social enterprises under our portfolio. They are selling different kind of products, services, including the catering, retail, personal care, medical service, etc. But we want to find a one-stop solution to promote them, not just iBakery from the Tonghua Group of Hospital, and then not just about retail shop from the Starvation Mom. We want to promote them in one go. So at that time, we thought about this project. Why don't we issue a coupon, and then we worked with some corporations. So we have a not just about DBS and Asian Mouse, but also many corporations actually. But Asian Mouse and DBS is our very close partner and a customer of the Asian Mouse DBS. When you have the credit card, you have the reward point. Customer can redeem their points into this kind of coupon. So by using this coupon, you can support the social enterprises. So it is very popular, and we found that after we launched this project, the sales revenue of our collaborative social enterprises have increases for over about 20 to 50%. So it's quite a good achievement to us. So not just about DBS and Asian Mouse. Actually, we have been working with lots of corporations, just like some banks and some local corporations, and also some professional bodies such as the Law Society. So and this is lots. Actually, the Buy Social, this campaign is not unusual in the over the world, such as in UK, they have Buy Social campaign. Even the UK government, they have launched a social value ad in 2012. This is a requirement, the UK government and public utilities. Each year, they have to set aside some budget to procure products from social enterprises and other products with social objective. But in Hong Kong, we still don't have this kind of practice. So I want to share with you our survey that we conducted last year. Last year, we have conducted a survey to about 200 companies and public utilities, and to ask about their views on social procurement and about their current practice. We found it quite interestingly that there actually quite a lot of corporations, they have heard about the concept social enterprises. Even 70% they have the experience to buy social enterprise products and services. So the figures is quite good. But it is also very interesting when we ask them whether it is a one-off or regular. They say, oh, usually it is one-off. Sometimes Christmas party, maybe annual dinner, or maybe during the mid-autumn festival, they want to buy something for their customers, so they spend that. But this is not a regular practice. A few of them, they would buy a fair trade coffee for their daily use or for the pantry and for the staff. This is not popular. So even though and we found that the amounts they spend on the procurement on social products is not high, just about 10,000 Hong Kong dollars per year. So the expenses is not high. And it's normally constitute about 2 to 5% of their daily consumption of the whole company. So it shows us that even though we have already offered about 20 years of history of social enterprise concept and people have heard of it, quite a lot of corporations, they are eager to buy, but not on a regular basis, just one-time basis. So, and we find that most of them, they don't have this practice of responsible procurement policy. I have a few minutes left, so I want to share with you a last cases which is not related to responsible consumption, but on how can corporation revamp your business, but you can also fulfill the social value. I want to share one very new case to you. This is a new trend in Hong Kong. The number of aging population is on the rise. We have more than 60% of people are aged 60 or above. Quite a lot of elderly people, actually, they have suffered from this kind of swallowing or chewing difficulties. They are difficult to eat solid food. And we know that some corporations in Hong Kong, they begin to think about some solution and some products such like this soft food, trying to accommodate the needs of these elderlies. This is quite interesting because we see some corporations such as Cultural Home, Manfa Chun, this is a local business, 9 to 5 under the Carry Group, they started to engage in this business. But you see that they have the business opportunity, but at the same time, it is solving the social problem that we become more and more serious in Hong Kong. And for this kind of corporations, they no longer just think about the price, just think about whether the pricing strategy of this kind of new product. When we talk with them, actually they also think about other things related to the disadvantaged group. For example, the purchasing power of the disadvantaged group, and how can they transfer the knowledge to the caregivers, especially those deprived caregivers. So we see that some corporations in Hong Kong, they are trying to incorporate social mission into their mainstream business. So this is a cases of the CSV, even though we don't have a lot of cases in CSV, but we see the trend is going up. So this is the end of the presentation, but before I end, I want to show you my our website first. Yes, this is a website of our SEBC, socialenterprise.org.hk. You can see there's a search engine. You can type any keywords there. If you want to look for cleaning service, you can type cleaning service, and then you have a full list of the social enterprises that you can put it in the vendor list. And another website is our Good Goose trading. Yes, goodgoose.hk. So this is a coupon I mentioned, and we also have other partnership projects with other corporations. So if you are interested in it, you can have a look of this website too. So this is the end of my presentation. Thanks very much. A bit overrun, very sorry for that.
That's fine. Yeah, thank you, Jessica. We have some question for you, please. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Responsible procurement cover goods and services too. How can the individual consumer, for them to support the, no matter it's profit or non-profit social enterprise, with their 10,000 cash out.
Yes. Yes, thanks for reminding me. And yeah, actually, for our Good Goods social enterprise training platform, we just not about B2B, but also about B2C. So we also sell this kind of coupons and products to individual customers. So we are actually thinking about some package, whether you don't need to the 100,000. All spent on social enterprise product, because I know that people want to keep it for long. Just 10% of them. 1,000 is fine enough. Just 1,000%, yeah. And very interesting, because at the coupon I just mentioned, we find that some people, they use it at the wedding gift. The banquet, if you go to the wedding banquet, and then people give you the gift, and some people, they distribute our coupon as the gift. So it is I think people have gradually have a higher sense of responsible procurement, even on individual level.
Then how can the corporate build this concept into their CSR marketing or employee engagement budget?
I think that I found that some corporations, they put the budget on marketing or CSR. Some put it in the administration. But I think that if we want the corporation not just treat it as a one-time event or activities, but a longer-term support to the society. So maybe you can put it in the administrative budget. Maybe every year you set aside perhaps 5% of your annual budget under administration team on to procure products from social enterprises.
How can a company be qualified as social enterprise?
Oh, this is
I mean, the word social.
Social. Actually, I show you the list. The apps. Actually, we have every year since I think 15 years ago, we collect this database, and it is endorsed by the Home Affairs Department of the Hong Kong government. I show you the social enterprise directory. So if you are not quite sure whether this is a social enterprises or not, whether it's reliable or not, you can refer to our directory. But this is quite complicated to elaborate the definition. But for social enterprises, we have three important criteria. First, they should have a very, very clear social mission. And then second, majority of their profit, we said 35% of their profit, they could only distribute it to the shareholder. It means that 65% of their profit should be should go back to the society or to the company itself. And the third is about the asset lot. We make reference to the community interest company, which is one of the social enterprise law in UK, and then we adopt that concept to Hong Kong.
During the so-called responsible procurement, or on our side is sustainable procurement, and you mentioned is to put some kind of social criteria in the procurement requirement. How is it? How's the practice of the government department in putting this kind of social criteria in the procurement requirement? I suppose, I believe, government should be the first priority to support social enterprise.
This is a very good question. Actually, just last week I have talked to our senior government official on this, but I think that in the practice, the government sometimes they have some tender, and then they tried it, but this is not a very useful practice even for the government themselves. But they will in this tender, they will set some criteria that I want to procure this product, but specific just tender for the social enterprises. Sometimes they have some, for example, they want to procure catering service, then they will select, or we can call this the preferable tender. But this is not a usual practice, I know, even for the Hong Kong government, because they told us that Hong Kong have signed some contract under the WTO, so it is quite difficult for them to favor just social enterprises. But what we advocate is actually not to favor just social enterprises. We just want to encourage corporations and government to incorporate also the social criteria in your vetting process. So even for a company, just as SME, if they can fulfill or they add on more social elements, actually they can have an advantage if under this kind of social value.
Yeah, the time is running out. I think what we can do is, because Green Council do have their sustainable procurement charter, I believe later we can come together to discuss whether there's any collaboration between your side and our charter member to support social procurement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Jessica.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.